I feel great. I feel just happy right now to be back home, see my family. Happy to be back here at 888 Table Tennis. It's been a while for me. This year was pretty intense. Everything was leading up to Paris. I started off the year not even being allowed to play. Came back through 2 tough trials that I think were really challenging and brought me in a good mental state going to Paris. A lot of heavy preparation and a lot of pressure, honestly, in the Paris Olympic Games. So I'm happy to have done the best I could and to have made USA proud. In general, the pressure for the Olympic Games is unlike any other tournament. It's every 4 years. In our sport of table tennis, it's the biggest sport. Me being especially from the USA, it's one of the only times the coverage is really more mainstream for us table tennis players. I always envisioned myself in the Paris Games, to be honest. I just knew I had to be there. With saying that, the trials is always tricky. In both the trials, I played the USA trials and the Pan America trials. I would say I was quite a favorite going in. My technical skills, I would say, were higher than the opponents there, but at the same time, the trials is dangerous because anything can happen. Players play with a lot of emotions there, the pressure is high. So I relied a lot on my experience. You know, this was going into my 3rd Olympic Games. I felt the pressure before, and I really leaned in on my experience to push me through the tough trials. And that also mentally brought me in a really good place heading into Paris. When I qualified, I felt more relief than anything. The last years, I always envisioned myself doing well in Paris. That was the big one for me. So it was more of a small relief, but at the same time, I knew the task ahead. And almost directly when I qualified, my mindset shifted to focusing on how I'm going to bring myself in the best shape possible for Paris. This one was very different for a few reasons. I mean, it was a pretty unique Olympic cycle for myself. I went through a few highs and lows since the Tokyo Games. I think I really brought my game to a new level after the Tokyo Games. I lost quite early there. I think my technical skills were getting quite high at that point, but mentally I wasn't quite there in Tokyo, so I learned a lot from that, and I really brought myself to a new level those next years. I went to the World Championship quarterfinals, which was a really special result, as well as reaching the top 20 in the world. Yeah, the last 2 years before Paris, I actually didn't even compete. As most of you guys know, I was suspended. So that was also a new experience, and it brought in new challenges. So it was really like kind of a highs and lows through this Olympic cycle this time around. I always stayed focused in Paris. I always knew that I would do well there. It was special going in because I knew this time around my level is high enough to compete with almost anybody in the world, proving that, like I said. Also having the 2 years off, it just gave me more motivation, discipline to come back and to come back strong in, honestly, the most important event. So yeah, it was pretty unique. Yeah, I actually never think about the bigger picture during the tournament. My goal always going in, especially for Paris, was to medal. I mean, when you go into Paris, every opponent is so strong. I started in the preliminary round against a very strong player from Moldova, Vladislav Ursu. Many players don't know him, but for the people in the TT world, he has very strong results. So I took it step by step. Every match I gained more confidence. Going into the last 32, I played Panagiotis from Greece. I was always joking actually before the tournament, I didn't want to play him because he's a tricky style, he's a very experienced defender, and he's actually beaten me the only time we played before. So I put in a very special preparation for that match. I really prepared tactically kind of as many details as I could to be ready for that match, and it was a very tough match, 4-2, really tight. So it was cool to have taken it, and unfortunately, Fan was too strong in the last 16. I'm always very proud to bring USA to new heights. I kind of feel it's my job. It's sport. It's quite well known in the US now. I mean, everybody knows at the recreational level. There's more and more players playing it. We have so many kids out here, especially in 888 table tennis and all across the country who love the sport, and I know many of them look up to me, being the top player from USA and representing USA for such a long time. So it always brings me pride to bring this country to new heights. And I'm 24 years old, and LA is the next big one, and I hope to do something special there. I've always seen LA as like the pinnacle moment of my career ever since it was announced. I don't know when, it was a couple of years back announced. So I've always seen that one as pinnacle one. It seems just so perfect in so many ways. It's in my home state. I'll be 28 years old, so it's a pretty peak age for myself. By that point, I hope I'll be in a really good place mentally and physically. Every Olympic cycle I've been through now has been unique, so it's now about 4 years till the LA Games. My goal until then is honestly just to keep improving, keep getting better. I understand more and more the mental aspect of the Olympics, having played through already. And it was a really great experience as well, playing the Houston World Championship in 2021, having a huge event in home soil. So the preparation will be always really intense. Right now it's still 4 years away, so I focus on day-to-day training, but it'll always be in the back of my mind. This year I got to play the US Nationals right before Paris, and it's such a cool experience for me because playing on home soil is first of all special, but then seeing all the kids there who are so passionate about the sport, who love the sport, that also gives me a lot of energy. And to all the kids in this country, honestly my advice is a bit cliche, but it's really like everyone says, you have to follow your dream, you have to be persistent, work hard, train hard. For the parents of the kids, try to always just support your kids if you can. Make sure the people around the kids are a good influence. As you get older, it stays kind of more the same. You have to just stay disciplined. There's so many distractions out there. Try to keep your head on the table. Remember why you love the sport. Just with following those things, you can reach it. You can reach anywhere. You know what? I honestly feel every time I mention table tennis to the normal people who don't follow it, they're like excited because everyone in the USA knows this sport. It's such a popular sport recreationally, and I think if you just turn it on in the Olympics, you're going to be amazed by what you see because it's completely different from anything you can imagine. And I've spoken to so many fans, so many local people that they come for the first time to see this game and they're completely amazed and they just come back and keep watching. So my advice is just turn it on, and if you're entertained, keep it on. If not, turn it off.